Okay, we had a big day today in Bitcoin. We had a new all-time high, and also what happened today was Coinbase listed. Today was the first day of its IPO, so I'm going to go over both of those. But what I want to highlight was what I was talking about on my last video, which I did on the 11th, but it was the start of the day of the 12th. It was this day right here, and I had talked about how we were consolidating in this resistance zone. And then once we broke this resistance zone, what I had drawn on the 4 hour was a cup and handle. And that once we broke this resistance zone, you know, kind of once we broke out of this cup and handle, because that was, let's see, when did this actually break out? This broke out on the 9th, but we were within this resistance zone. We did break out of this cup and handle, but we were again in this resistance zone, kind of fighting through it. But that once we broke through it, the initial targets were between 63 and 667K. And where did we get today? We got as high as almost 65. So we were in the range of the cup and handle breakout. So if you wanted to be conservative, you could have taken a profit here at 63. We went higher. I'm going to take this off my chart. The full cup and handle target is going to be around 67. And I did say that that aligned with our Fibonacci retracement of like 70K being the target for the near term. So, I mean, we were consolidating. We'd been consolidating for almost a month and a half now. And we were just on the upper end of this consolidation. And whenever you're on the upper end of a consolidation, the longer and longer you are in this area, the more likely you are to break out to the upside. Now, if we were consolidating and we were on the lower end of this 51, then we were most likely going to go to the downside, maybe hit this 46 target that I had, on this lower end that we didn't kind of retest. But we did have one, we did have a 9 here. I'm not sure if I had drawn it on my last chart. I don't think I did, unless it's just hidden, but we had, no, it was on my last chart. It was orange though. So it was. So what happened was we broke out. We hit that initial target of around 63, a little bit above that. What was it exactly? It was, I wish I wouldn't have deleted it. It was, yeah, say 63. It was a 62.7. So that was our initial target, right? And then we hit a 9 exhaustion point, and then we started to come back. And what did we do? We retested the breakout, or we retested the prior high. Was that the prior high? Yeah, we retested the prior high. Now we found some support. We should see the CMF actually trending up if that is the case. So we sold off, kind of started to trend up. That's exactly what we saw. It's probably more pronounced on the hourly, is it? Not so much. It's actually trending down, but we had a 9 here. Wow, so we had a 9 on the hourly, and then we had a 9 on the 4 hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark that as well. Make this orange. Save that. So, yeah, so we saw a breakout of the cup and handle. We saw an initial target of around 63. The full target of the cup and handle is around 67.5. Yeah, so we had a 9, 1 to 4 candle correction, and then we should, based on this TD sequential, we should be going back up. The CMF looks okay as far as getting some momentum. On the daily, it doesn't look so hot. This kind of is a little bit of it's like a spinning top. So that's kind of bullish on this upper end. We didn't quite retest this 9 here on a daily candle. So for it to happen today, we would have to close all the way down at under 60K. That's probably unlikely. I mean, we did kind of wick down to around 61. But what could happen was we could consolidate here for a couple of days, right? Say tomorrow, right? So the 17th, that would be Friday? No. What day would that be? That would be Saturday. So say the weekend. Say we have, we had this nice price rally. We hit a new all-time high. We have some consolidation here. Let's see if the unbalanced volume kind of hints at that. Yeah, yep. So we're kind of getting some sideways action on the unbalanced volume. So we could see some consolidation here, which would maybe be a little frustrating for some individuals, given that we just had a new all-time high. But we could see some consolidation through the 17th, through the weekend, and then possibly say, let's see, because if on the weekend, if we close below 63, say we get a dip on the weekend, and then we retest this 61 area on the daily, and we see some nice, uptick on the volume, and see the CMF start to trend up because it is starting to it did sell off a little bit. Let's see what the index is doing. So the index is still kind of, the market net is kind of long. Let's see what it is on the 4-hour. Yeah, it is trending down a little bit. Hourly, yep. Let's bring up the RSI real quick too. I want to look at that. That's trending up. We went over. Yeah, we went overbought. Man, everything was screaming a sell right there. This is still trending down. This needs to break, so we need to get above 67 for it to have us. We broke this, which is nice. We broke this 60. I talked about that last time. Then we found some resistance. This needs to break up, and we really need to break here above 72. I did say that in the month of April, we could possibly see, a $80,000 Bitcoin. We're kind of mid-month, another 2 weeks to make that happen, say 2.5 weeks. Definitely possible. So we'll see how that goes. But we could, get some consolidation into the weekend with a retest of, say 61.8. That would be nice. And then we can go higher starting next week. Maybe hit this 67 or 70K area sometime next week. So that's Bitcoin. I really would have liked to see this funding rate start to go down. Bollinger Bandwidth, let's see. Yeah, I mean, we're still getting low volatility on the daily, right? The 4 hours probably started to peak up. So we could see that start to get, start to see the Bollinger Bandwidth reflect. I mean, there's probably still some compression on the Bollinger Bands. Not so much, but I use the Bollinger Bandwidth to look at that. So we could get, we did have some price movement, some good price movement, 6%. That's not insane though for Bitcoin. This was almost $4,000 day. So we could see, I'm really looking as a signal to get whenever we're towards the tail end of the bull cycles, if we have a $10,000 day. If we we can have a $10,000 day, a dip, and maybe an $8,000 day. But once we get that first $10,000 day, that's going to be that's a big deal. As far as indicating one of the indications I'm going to use that we could be getting close to a top. But yeah, our volatility is still going down. The weekly is probably still pretty high. It is, but it is trending down as well. So we'll see. We might see some increased volatility soon. Some big price movement. What else am I going to show? Oh yeah, I do want to. We did get the Pi cycle daily moving averages crossed. This has shown to be accurate within like 5 days. It actually crossed. When did it cross? I think it crossed the day that I did that video. Yeah, it did. So within 5 days, it's been pretty good at the top. We did hit a new all-time high. Is this the top? What would be a pullback, right? We in past bull cycles, bear markets, we've seen 80% drops. I don't think that's going to happen this cycle. I think worst case scenario, we see like maybe a 65% drop. So even here, what would be a 65% drop, right, from the all-time high? 65% would get us all the way back to the previous all-time high. That's not likely. And the reason I'm saying that is because based on historical price action, once Bitcoin went double the previous all-time high on a weekly close, on a monthly close, it had never revisited that price level ever. So again, this cycle's different. There's the landscape is definitely different as far as the market participants, but historically, basically the last 11 to 12 years, or 11, you say 11 years, 11 and a half years, Bitcoin has not, it's shown that. So it'd be unlikely. But could we enter what, the general, the market, the guideline for a bear market is like 20% drop, but 20% drops are pretty common in Bitcoin. But could we get a traditional maybe bear market where we only drop to like say 50K, the previous low, and then we find massive support and then we go higher? Maybe. But I'm not I'm not seeing that right now. I'm seeing us consolidate maybe for the next couple of days, then going higher. I do not think that this is the high. We can look at the Mayer multiple bands, which I talked about. We haven't got to this upper band, which is at 147,000 right now. It doesn't have to get here, but it's there. I mean, we'll see. We can look at golden ratio multiplier, which this is saying that, the the Fibonacci sequence of 3 should be where we top, and we've been here, we've been kind of at this level since January, and this is trending up as we consolidate more, because realistically, this cycle has seen some pretty low volatility compared to the last cycles. So this is just trending up. So could this carry us? I mean, could this really be the top? This 3 area that's marked in the sequence, and could this just continue to trend up to say 100K or 200K? It could, if we see this low volatility, smaller price movements, some consolidation, and then we get 5% days, 4% days like this did here, continuous climb, pullbacks, consolidation. Could we see that happening? Yeah, we could see that happening. Hasn't been seen in Bitcoin, but it could happen. So that's a scenario. I mean, I can pull up the cycle repeat just for fun. I mean, that's saying 400K by October, November. Stock to flow, I think, also looks pretty spot on. We are a little bit above the model price. The initial stock to flow, that's still showing 100. The stock to flow cross asset, we're below that. So we're kind of in the middle between the initial stock to flow and then the stock to flow cross asset, which, we'll see how that goes. We've always gone above this stock to flow model. Cross asset one, we've also gone above. So we'll see how this cycle plays out. I don't think this is the top. The Willy Woo price models, that's at 130. As far as the top goes, we have NVT. You can look up what that is. That's around 46. So we're most likely not going. I mean, this was a massive resistance area. So now it's going to be pretty good support. A lot of buyers will probably come in here. We can look at regular volume to see that. It kind of tailed off. We've been consolidating. Let's look at the weekly. It's probably better. I would say we've been consolidating since here. Volume's been going down, but we have a breakout now, so we'll see if that volume ticks back up. On balance volume should also reflect that as far as just going sideways to down. Yeah, sideways to down, and then it's starting to trend back up. So if we break it here, right around above 5 million on the weekly, that's super bullish. But yeah, sorry. So let's look at Coinbase. So IPOs, what I've learned, I usually don't trade them because I don't know an IPO that's listed that hasn't gone below its IPO price. On the first day, there's barely any data here. Yeah, we got a couple hours. Let's look at the 15-minute maybe. Man, that doesn't even have anything yet. Oh, we're gonna have to look at the minute. Okay, that has some CD sequential information on it. But what I think is, I think Coinbase is a very, very. I think the play on Coinbase is going to be a 8 to 10 year play. It got a valuation of right around 100 billion, which is just insane. I know Google's probably right around 1.5 trillion right now. So just say Coinbase gets to $1 trillion, which would be basically the market cap of Bitcoin right now. That's 10x from right here, right around 10x, maybe a little bit more, because they closed out the day a little bit below that. So I think you're right around 94 billion market cap or something like that. So just say, let's make it 100 billion, 10x from here. So if you see any sort of literature that's saying, Coinbase could, see massive gains, 5x, 8x, you're talking about an $800 billion, almost $1 trillion company, all within, a couple of months. I mean, there's massive adoption. I mean, I'm not going to say massive adoption yet, but hyper Bitcoinization hasn't happened. Coinbase does have, their model is based on fees, so a lot of their income is, based off of the fees that they collect. So, even in a bear cycle, if there's still I mean, trading does decrease during a bear cycle because people are selling, maybe initially there's some large, movements in volume there, and Coinbase could still post a good return, quarterly earnings, uh, even right at the initial start of a bear cycle, and kind of maybe stabilize in price, but then eventually, I mean, I think Bitcoin's still going to govern the way Coinbase moves. Um, so I do think Coinbase is an 8 to 10 year investment. Maybe it gets to a trillion in 8 to 10 years based on just crypto adoption in general. But right now in this cycle, if Bitcoin moves to these, larger numbers, anywhere between 100 and say, I don't know, quarter million, 250,000. Is it possible that Coinbase sees a peak, you know, at 200 billion or 300 billion? Sure. 2x to 3x on your initial investment, possible. Not investment advice, just my opinion of what could happen for the remainder of the year. Could it see that large growth? Could it double from here? It could. But most IPOs, like I said, they drop 30 to 50%. A lot of them, I don't participate. I mean, this one has already dropped from its high. It's almost dropped 30% just today, just on today's trading. So there you go. Almost dropped 30 to 50%. You're going to be hard to find an IPO that did not drop significantly based on its initial first day price. Ultimately, yeah, you could have a good couple of weeks of big price movement up 30%, 50% gains, but eventually it ends up going below its IPO price. I don't know anyone that hasn't. And if someone can find one, that'd be, just share that in the comments. But yeah, so it's already dropped that much. We'll see how it goes. Bitcoin is up based on yesterday's price. I believe it was up. Is it up? Was it positive? I mean, my view on Bitcoin is just so long term. Oh, it's down by like almost 0.5%, but it's still above, 60,000. It's at almost 63,000, I believe. 62.7. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think you'll still find some price discovery, but if you're looking to make massive gains, I just don't think you're going to see that real quick. 2 to 3x possible. I don't think it's going to be seeing anything more than that this cycle. There's still a lot of adoption that's still to come, and decade hold. Ultimately, if Coinbase starts to offer dividends, man, that would be a home run, right? You have a high beta stock relative maybe to other stocks that has a high valuation. So larger volatility, you can make some pretty good returns on it, especially if you try to trade options on it. So yeah, so that's my outlook on Coinbase. Not financial advice, just what I think is going to happen this cycle. I don't think you're going to see these 10x or sometimes you have to look at the market caps and try to rationalize, is it possible for this thing to go to a trillion in a year? I mean, it took Bitcoin 12 years to get to a trillion. And just a little note, that's the fastest any asset has ever gotten to $1 trillion. Bitcoin did it in 12 years. So is it possible that Coinbase is going to get to a trillion in less than a year? No. It would have outperformed, maybe not on a return basis, but getting to $1 trillion. No, I don't think that's possible. I think 200 to 300 billion, maybe, 2 to 3x. So we can look at some other stuff. I know I talked about gold last time. I mean, not on the minute. That looks okay. There was some pullback. There was some inflation numbers that came out, and they were actually kind of high, and gold kind of sold off. But it's still good. It's still consolidating. I think if it closes a daily close below the prior week's low, that's maybe hints of lower prices. We did get a flip of the numbers, so this is just consolidation. I can look at the Bollinger Bandwidth and see some volatility increase due to this price drop. But right now, consolidation. I do have this 9 marked, potential of us getting lower if we see some price breakdown. We had a 9 here. Did we retest that? We did here. or I'm not going to say retested. We have some price action around that. We hit a 9, retrace. We hit a 9 here, big up move. So yeah, we're just consolidating. So gold neutral right now. You can maybe scale in some positions since we're starting to see these. Maybe these moving averages starting to flatten and start to curve back up. So I know oil had a pretty big move to, like, I'm not gonna say pretty big move, but it moved up. Let me mark this real quick because I didn't mark it. This 9, and I'm gonna make that like a deep red color maybe. Yeah. So some price movement up, still hitting this historical trend line. Breakout here would just be I mean, I think I saw someone draw like a broadening, some sort of broadening pattern. I don't like to go off of other analysts' charts, but I do remember seeing that. I'll analyze it further if we break here for some other patterns, for some intermediate maybe targets, but it breaking this historical trend line will be massive. If it does it on, I believe I have it on the monthly. If it does it on the monthly, because it did wick up quite a bit last month, but closing above it on the monthly would be a big deal. Eventually, this will break. Yes, what's going to break it, I'm not sure, but something to watch. And then I know lumber prices have been going through the roof, which that was expected. Yeah, they're hitting higher highs. Look at this. I think I had a target. I did have a target, but what is this for? Let me hide this. Yeah, I had a target of 1162 and above that. But where did I pull that target from? Probably this cup and handle. Here. Yeah, that's what it was. Had to be. Yeah, that was the initial one. That was the initial target. So we had and you can see this here. So we had a green 2, close above green 1, close above the 9, went up, retest, now it went back up. It probably found there's massive support there. So that was the initial target here. And then he had another target. So this is just a cup and a little cup and handle on the weekly. So let's look at this. I'll draw it from here down. Let me turn this magnet off. It's right here. So it has long-term target of 1376. What's our daily on? Our daily's on a 9. Man, look at that. That's the breakout right there. Look at this. Right here. Boom. You even had a 9. Resistance came here. 9. Consolidation. Breakout. The RSI on this is probably super high. Yeah, it is. So it could be topping. I think we're on a 9 right now. Yeah, this was a 9 right here. Right there. Boom. So now so this could probably pull back sometime soon. This RSI is trending down, but it had a breakout here, broke above this here. So I still think this target right here, 1376 on lumber, is what my target will be. And then we might see some significant pullback. We could see some consolidation pullback, but this would be the ultimate target for that cup and handle. So yeah, that's it. Any other stocks that you want me to review, I can do that. Leave those in the comments, but that's about it. And thanks for watching.